Overthinking. We all do it. How do you make your brain turn off when it's just like going and going and going? How do you? Can you make it turn off? We're going to talk about overthinking and 5 ways to stop it. Welcome back to another video. I'm Jen Palco. Overthinking is the name of the game today. This is such a big issue for so many people, myself included. We let our brains just take over and it runs the show. It runs the show. It really does. We think and we think and we think and we can't shut off our brains. We cannot shut off our brains. So before I get into it, let me just say, if you like the content here, please subscribe below to my channel. I put out many videos each week on all kinds of cool stuff, helpful hints for you. So please do that. Like, share if you would, hit the little notification button below. I would greatly appreciate it. So we'll talk about 5 ways you can stop overthinking. And the 5th way is something that you probably would never have thought of, for real. All right, so number 1. The first way to stop overthinking is action. Action. Ask yourself, what is something I can do about this right now? When your brain is going and it's going and it's going, you have to ask yourself that question. What can I do right now in this moment? Can I do anything right now in this moment? So if you can do something in the moment, then you take the action, or you take any sort of action towards any way, any which way. Get the ball rolling, get momentum going. And if you ask yourself that question and there's really no action that you can take, then sorry, but you know, your brain is just hijacking you. It's hijacking you. So you have to ask yourself the question, is this something I can do something about right now? It's like, did I leave my oven on or the iron on and I can drive back home and turn it off? Or is this something where I am just thinking about like 10 years down the line and there's really nothing I can't. I don't have like a crystal ball in front of me and I'm, you know, trying to predict the future. So action, any sort of action. It doesn't even have to be action related to what you're thinking about. It can be anything. Number 2, stop playing the victim and practice being in the now. Being in the now, aka the present moment. I know it's not easy because when we're overthinking, we're usually thinking about something like that we have to do in the future. We're worrying, right? We have this fear of the unknown, or something is just on our mind and we're trying to figure it out and we're hashing it over and over in our brains and really not coming to any resolution. So focusing on being present now in this moment and stop playing the victim. Stop being a victim to your thoughts. The more you are a victim to your thoughts, the more your thoughts will rule your life. So anything that you can do to be mindful of this moment and concentrate on what you're doing right now, right at this moment, what you're seeing with your eyes, what you're tasting, what you're smelling, what you're feeling. So really tap into your senses, and that will help you be present. So many of us go about the day just on autopilot and we're zombies, and before we know it, we're just like, we're really not present. We're just these zombies on autopilot that are in our heads, but we're never in our full body, our full capacity. I mean, what kind of life is it to live your life strictly coming from your brain and not really experiencing with your senses? What kind of life is that? It's the life of a zombie. That's what it is. It's the life of a freaking zombie. And we all do it. I do it too. So I'm not saying that I am better than anyone else, because I do it too. We spent most of our lives as zombies, and to unzombify ourselves, we have to really try to experience our senses in the moment and try to feel what we're experiencing in this world, in this space and time, and that will help. Number 3, this is one that I am not really great at doing, but it's declutter your stuff. I was gonna say shit, but declutter your stuff. I'm sure you've heard this one. You know, the more crap you have around you, the more you're hoarding stuff, the more that your brain is crowded. It's cluttered. The more clutter, the more, I am definitely, I will raise my hand on this one, because I have in my little office upstairs, I am like a Post-it note junkie. I'm like a Post-it addict for some reason, like the little Post-it notes, because I know I don't have one to-do list. I have like 50 different Post-it notes written with, you know, 1 or 2 things that I have to do. And then there's another Post-it note. It might have the same thing written on it with like a couple more things added. And then I have another Post-it note, and then I don't throw them away. And then before I know it, I am just like swimming in a pool of Post-it notes. So anything you can do to consolidate your stuff, consolidate your to-do list, clear off all the junk that you don't need, the old magazines, the old newspapers, the paycheck stubs from 5 years ago off your desk, and you'll find that your mind is a little more at ease the more you are not seeing all the junk around you. So declutter your stuff. Okay, number 4 is a good one. Stop talking about it. Stop reading books on how to stop overthinking. Stop talking to your friends about how you think so much. Stop watching YouTube videos on how not to think, how to stop overthinking, how to do this, how to do that. Stop talking about it. The more you talk about it, the more you are bringing it into your life, the more you are attracting it to you, instead of telling yourself that I'm just not an overthinker, I'm cool, like everything's fine, I'm living my life, I'm present, I'm mindful, I know what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna let my brain take over. But the more focus you put on it through reading about it and watching how-to videos and really trying to figure it out, in a sense, how to stop it, the more resistance you are creating, okay, against yourself, and the more you're attracting it to you. So if you can stop putting it up on such a pedestal for yourself and stop putting it up here, and just realize that you just make a decision. You have to make a decision to just stop the chatter in your head and focus on being present where you are now, in the now. Focus on feeling through your senses, and that will help. That will definitely help. But you have to stop worrying about how you're worrying, or worrying about how you're overthinking, and overthinking about how you're overthinking too much, about how you're worrying too much, and overthinking on that. Also, if you are constantly in the vibrational state of worrying or fear of the unknown and just your brain taking over, these are very low vibrational states. So what it's gonna do, you're gonna be faced with more of that stuff in your life. So what you have to do is basically highlight better things in your life, good stuff that you want to see in your life and expect to see it in your life, rather than always seeing worry and frustration and overthinking and always telling yourself that you are an overthinker. Instead, you have to tell yourself that you are calm, you are collected, you are present in present moment, and that is who you are. That is the version of yourself that you are living. You're not living in this person who always freaks out in their head and always has to hash something out for like hours and years and centuries before they can make a decision about something. Or you're freaking out because the fear is just ingrained in you. You have to start living outside of that fear and start highlighting things in your reality, in your world, that make you feel better on an emotional level. Because fear and worry do not feel good to us. They do not feel good to us. So we want to raise it up a little bit. Okay, number 5, the last way to help you stop overthinking. And this is a good one that you've probably never thought before. It is love your spleen. You gotta love your spleen to help overthinking. And you're like, what? My spleen? I don't even know what my spleen does. Yeah, me neither. But no, in reality, I'm gonna go into Chinese medicine mode here a little bit. So your spleen, which is very tied to your stomach in Eastern medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, has a lot to do with chronic worry and chronic overthinking. So this can actually, if you are a chronic worrier, chronic overthinker, this can actually indicate that you may have issues with your stomach spleen meridians. What does this mean? Well, check your digestion, for one. Make sure that you pay attention to what you're eating, number 2. And stress reduction, exercise, all these things on a holistic level will essentially help your thinking and clarity of thought. So digestion, for example, undigested food equals undigested thoughts. Undigested food equals undigested thoughts. So if you can't eliminate, let's be gross here a little bit, then you can't eliminate those thoughts too. So you are very tied emotionally and physically. So your organs are always tied to an emotion. And the emotion for your spleen and your stomach happens to be worry and overthinking. So if you take care of your spleen, stomach health, your digestion, you eat right, then you have more clarity of thought, you sleep enough, you have more clarity of thought, and you take care of yourself. You value self-care for yourself. Then this down the road can lead to more clarity of thought, like I said, where you're not constantly overthinking. Fatigue a lot of times. Fatigue, if we're not sleeping regularly or we're waking up throughout the night, this can definitely lead to our brains going on overdrive with the overthinking and worrying about everything, because we're not grounded, okay? We're not present, for one, but we're not really taking care of ourselves as a whole, okay? Energetically, we're not taking care of ourselves as a whole and doing the things that we need to do: exercise, sleep, nutrition, 3 big factors that play a role in our thought quality. And you may think that, well, whatever, like food has nothing to do with my overthinking. Well, it does. It can. It definitely can. All right, so those are 5 ways that can really help you stop overthinking, and I definitely recommend trying them out for yourself and seeing if it helps. All right, guys, so I hope you all have an awesome day. Like I said, if you like this video, please share, subscribe below. I would appreciate it, and I hope you all have an awesome, awesome day.